Hello everybody and welcome to Ongaku Concept. This week we're doing another transcription video, and the past couple transcription videos I've done were focused more on chord charts, but this week I wanted to do one focused entirely on melody. So I decided we should check out the melody from Windmill Hut, also known as Song of Storms from the Ocarina of Time. Alright, so let's just get started right now. We'll just pick a treble clef because if you've done any kind of, if you play an instrument, if you do any kind of transcription or anything like that, there's two clefs that you'll see most often, which are the treble and bass clefs. Treble is mostly for higher pitched instruments, so we're just going to go with that because melodies are typically written in the treble clef. I already have the key of D selected here, or a D minor, but just to, I already know that this song is in the key of D minor, but as we go through it, I'll explain to you why I know that. I'm not going to worry about the tempo right now. And the time signature, if we just take a listen to this. Just listen to that rhythm and try and count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's in 6/8 time. 6/8 time is different from 3/4 time because, put it this way, 3/4 time is a simple meter. So its beats are divided into even groups. So if you were to divide 3/4 into eighth notes, it would sound like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whereas 6/8 time, its beats are divided into two groups. So you have a group of 3 beats followed by another group of 3 beats. So it's accented like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just listen to that difference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In 6/8 time, the accent is on the 1 and 3 beats. Those are the two strongest beats. There's no pickup measure, and 32 bars should be enough for now. So let's get started. I'm just gonna zoom in here a bit, and I'm gonna make this text smaller because it's kind of big for me. And first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and spread this out into 4 bars per system here. Just because a lot of songs tend to be grouped in 4-bar patterns here. Alright, so on to transcribing the actual melody. So I've got my guitar here. It's generally recommended that you have an instrument with you or some way to get sound, so that you can check your work. Most score editors have a playback system, so you can hear the notes being played as you enter them in, and that way you can check your work and just see if everything lines up correctly. We'll start here with bar 1. Okay, so that's 4 bars right there of the intro. And since we're focused on the melody, I'm not going to worry about that. And I'll come back to this later, you'll see. We'll just start down here. Although I will put a double bar line here at the end of this first 4 bars, because that's kind of the intro, and this is the break into a new section as the melody begins. So, right here, it's time to enter some notes in. Alright, so that's the first 2 bars of the melody. I can't sing. So, this may seem weird if you've never transcribed something before, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to the first note, I'm going to pause it, and then I'm going to pick a completely random note on my guitar and see if it matches. Let's get back a little bit more. That's not it. It sounds higher than the actual note, so I'll go down. I got lucky and I wasn't far off. So that note is D. So we're just going to add that in. By the way, what I did there, I do not have perfect pitch. It would be really cool to have perfect pitch, but I do not. And so if I don't know the key of a song, here's the thing though, I do have a strong relative pitch. And what that means is that I can identify scale degrees or intervals based on context, even if I don't know the note names. So there, when I heard that note, I knew it was the tonal center of the song, which is D minor. The song is in the key of D minor. It's relatively somber sounding, and it utilizes the D minor scale, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. What I'm saying is I recognize that note by ear as the tonic of the scale. However, I did not know what the actual note was. I recognized it as the first note in the scale, but I didn't know if it was C or F sharp or G or something like that. So what I had to do was pick a completely random note on my guitar. If it was too high, I move down. If it's too low, I move up. And that's how I started off. And if you're completely new to transcribing, you're going to have to do that for most notes, and that's perfectly all right. If you don't have perfect pitch, that's really what you have to do. And over time, you will learn to recognize intervals and stuff by ear, especially if you study up in your intervals and scale patterns and what they sound like. So, moving on. I'm just going to work out the actual notes right now, and I'm not going to write them down yet, because I'll work out the timing here in just a second. All right, so let's get back to the first bar. And sometimes with fast notes like this, it's good to go ahead and kind of pause and unpause really quickly so you can hear the note. So we have D, and then it sounds like it goes up a minor third to me, which would be F. All right. And we have that high note, which sounds like D. Yeah. So you have D, F, and then D an octave higher. And that just gets repeated. And that's the first entire bar. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's the whole first bar right there. And now here's what I was saying about rhythm and why I haven't written these notes down yet, because I wanted to explain to you how the rhythm worked. When transcribing, I guess when playing music in general, but when transcribing, you want to keep a constant rhythm counting in your head. And so what I typically do is I keep eighth notes. I keep counting eighth notes in my head while I'm transcribing, while I'm listening to a bar. And whatever amount of eighth notes a note adds up to, so say we have this prolonged note or something like that. Let's say it lasts for 6 eighth notes. That would be a dotted quarter. I choose eighth notes simply because it's a nice small note value, and it's easy to count. In this case, we have something a little bit faster than eighth notes, twice as fast actually. We have 16th notes, because in the time it takes me to count 1/8 note, we have D and F go through evenly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. In the time it takes me to count 1/8 note, we have 2 notes there. So D and F are both 16th notes. So let's put D. Where's D? And then the high D, 1, 2, 3. All right, so that high D lasted for 2 eighth notes, because this part lasts for 1, and then this high note lasts for 2, 3. That's the 2 more eighth notes. That'd be a quarter note. So I'll just put D right there. And then since that repeated, we'll copy it, and that's the whole first bar. Do-do-do, do-do-do. Like I said, I can't sing. So a lot of explanation went into that first bar, but that's because I'm aiming this at people who are very new to transcribing melodies. I just want to help you understand the basics of what's going on here. So now that we have that down, let's just continue on using those same principles. So we only have two notes there, kind of going back and forth. Do, 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 do. Sound like semitones. And that note right there, here we go, it's E. And sometimes if something jumps up high or low or something and you can't use, you know, again, if you're new, you're just gonna have to pick a random note and go with it. I knew it was E because it sounded like the second degree of the scale to me, because I'm used to hearing these things. But yeah, over time you'll begin to develop that. So that's E. So it just goes back and forth between E and F. Alright, so sometimes when things get faster, I switch from counting eighth notes to counting 16th notes. So, why don't you end up to, yeah, let's say dotted eighth. Do, do, do. We have a 16th. F, E, F, E. There's C. And then A. That's a pretty recognizable sound right there. It's just going down a minor arpeggio. So here we have the first two bars here. Do 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 do. Oops. You know what I didn't put down here? Nothing. Never mind. Carry on. So those are both eighth notes. That's A and D. Alright, F and G. Those are 16th notes because they're twice as fast. And then A, which lasts for a dotted quarter for the rest of the bar. And then we have another pattern which is the same in terms of rhythm, but the notes are a little bit different. I'll just copy that and I'll go back and see what changes need to be made. Alright, so these first four notes are exactly the same. We have A, D, G, F, G, and then instead of going up to A, we go down to E. So let's bring this down here. Awesome, so that's the first four bars of the melody. And let's see what the next four are. Okay, so it's almost exactly the same for these first three, except here, instead of a dotted quarter, there's a quarter note and then another eighth note, the same note. Do, 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 do. And then we resolve on D for the whole bar. And then everything gets repeated from there. And for some reason I started writing the melody up here when I thought I was going to ignore those first four bars. So sorry about that. I'll just clear that out. So there we are. We have the melody for Song of Storms. It's a really nice melody, by the way. It's very iconic. And it didn't take a lot of work to transcribe it. If this seems pretty vague to you, that's okay, by the way. Let me deal with this. Sometimes if you have a bunch of bars, a bunch of empty bars, you can do what's called multi-measure rests. These are rests right here. They just mean don't play anything. And what we're going to do is, in Muse Score, we're just going to go over here, create multi-measure rests. And then we have a single bar with like a stretched line here and a 4, which means just don't play anything for 4 bars. And I'll make this tiny. And that should do it. So here we have our completed melody for Song of Storms. Again, if this seems vague at all, it kind of is. If you, if you don't have perfect pitch, it is possible to learn perfect pitch, and it's possible to learn to identify these sorts of things, but really what you're going to have to do is get out an instrument or get out your virtual piano or something like that, and listen to a note, pause the song after you hear that note, so don't go on to the next note, pause it immediately after you hear that one, and then play a random note and see if it works. If it doesn't, if it's too high, move down. If it's too low, move up until you find the right note. As you progress and as you learn a little bit of theory, this thing will get a little bit easier because you'll start to identify scale tones and stuff. So if I already know the song is in D minor, and I hear the 7th degree of the scale, the natural 7th degree of the scale, I know that that note is going to be C, just because I know what the scale is, and I know how to recognize the scale degrees just by ear. Likewise, it was really easy for me to get these 3 notes right here because I recognized, I knew that this was E, and I recognized the downward minor triad, which would be, it's just an A minor triad, E down to C down to A. And it's just something you learn over time. But when you're just starting out, pick a random note, see if it fits. That's really all there is to it, to be honest. And as far as counting goes, always be counting in 1/8 notes. If it starts getting faster, start counting in 16ths. It's okay to slow the song down, or to just slow it down in your head and just try going. Like if you have the notes figured out, but you don't have the timing, play the notes really slowly while you're counting, and try and count that out and see if it matches up. So that's really all the advice I have for you for transcribing melodies. So I encourage you to, how about this? Go find another melody from Ocarina of Time, because a lot of these melodies, the Ocarina melodies, are very simple. Go find another of these melodies and see if you can transcribe it, whether that's on paper or on a software such as Muse Score. See if you can transcribe it and see if you can figure it out, because I'd be very interested in seeing that. So I hope you learned something here. I will have the PDF for this up on the website at ongakuconcept.com. If you want to take a look at that and study it, you can just listen to the song and compare the notes and the timing and stuff, and try and digest that and see what you can find out. But I'd be interested in seeing what you guys come up with if you want to try transcribing another song from this game. There's a lot of great simple melodies here that are very ideal for transcribe. Man, I can't talk. There are a lot of great simple melodies here that are ideal for transcription. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this and learned something. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, or you can email me at ongakuconcept@gmail.com. And I'll see you guys next week.